Hey guys, this is Wake Up with Webb. You are here with myself, replacing Angel Santiago. My name is Nick Mery. I'm the media director at Freedom Practice Coaching, and I'm here with the man who needs no introduction, Dr. Charles Webb.
Hey guys, I'm really excited to have Nick with me. He's behind the scenes, all the production and stuff, and Angel is typically here with me, and he's not here today. And Nick actually put something together that he thought was going to be a real important message, and so I'm happy to go through this process about success in 2021, and I'm going to let him just throw me the bombs here as we go through this.
So, we're pretty early into 2021, obviously, and I think what a lot of people are looking for is a surefire way to make sure that they have a great year. Okay, 2020 was tough. 2021, we need it to be better, right? And the question that we are really going to be exploring here is what are the best practices to make sure that we have a chance to have the best 2021? And the first thing I'm going to ask you is, in your opinion, what's a really easy trap to fall into at the beginning of a new year?
Well, an easy trap to fall into is to not prepare, right? I mean, it's always one of those things. It's one thing to have a plan. Okay, here's my plan, but plans rarely turn out the way that you think they're going to, right? I always use the example of Mike Tyson when they had the conversation with him about fighting. The other guy's going to have a plan. Everyone's got a plan. And he said that plan goes away the minute I punch him in the face. And it's like, there's a difference between having a plan and constant preparation and understanding how to move through that fight, right? If this happens, so it's not a set plan. So you're not going to have a set plan for 2021. You're going to have preparation from past experiences. And as Nick mentioned, 2020 was a really tough year. Well, was it? Not for everyone. There's a lot of people that 2020 was the best year in regards to certain things. Like if you were a home remodeler, probably one of the best years you've ever had. We had one of the best years that we've ever had here at FPC. Many of our clients had a best year because we were able to bring something that was in demand during this. And what was in demand? Well, what was in demand for my business was taking doctors virtual because of lockdown. So we were able to be very successful with that. What was in demand for my clients? People that needed a doctor that was virtual and was there to coach them. So there was challenges in 2021. And the reason I want to bring this up, how you handle those challenges is part of preparing for 2021. What happened in 2020 that you said, I wasn't ready for this? What happened that pulled you down? What happened that pushed you forward? So there's going to be challenges in 2021. There's challenges every year. Is this something good or bad? It's indifferent. It's part of life, right? Life ain't easy. Success ain't easy. Freedom ain't free. I mean, it's just, so don't be lazy. Don't sit back and just another day. Let's see what happens. Let's see what's God's will. Yes, I pray for God's will, but we have to co-labor in this process.
Something you talk a lot about is routine and the strength of having a solid routine. It's not an accident to find success that way when you're waking up at the same time, when you're doing your rituals in the morning, you're going to work, you're knocking it out, you're spending time with your family and the things that you love, right? How do you stop someone, or if they were to ask, how do I stop that feeling of suddenly feeling like you're waking up and it's already March?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about routine and the power of those routines.
Yeah.
I personally couldn't function without a routine. I'm not going to be effective. I'm not going to be efficient and productive. And I'm not going to be able to focus in the moment. Routines for me create certainty in what's going to happen in my day. And if I can create certainty in this day, I really don't have to put much effort in time on tomorrow. A big mistake that we all make is we put too much emphasis on tomorrow. And tomorrow is not here yet. Let's focus on today. If I focus on the past, I don't want to focus on it, but I can bring value from the past, but I have to be present. I can't bring any value in from the future. I can prepare for it, but that preparation happens today. Routines happen today. Routines take place in the present. So I always make this comment. It's something I said a long time ago. I think I was up in front of one of our quarterlies talking to my clients, and I said, if you don't create your day, someone will create it for you. Now I've just basically said chaos will create it for you. If you don't create it, chaos will create it for you. The day will get in the way. And so routines begin when you wake up in the morning, and they end at the time that you set. It's time to rest. Now, there should be a time for that. That doesn't mean that if my time to rest is at 10 in the evening, sometimes it might be 10:30. Sometimes it might be 9:30. Every once in a while, it might be 11:30, but there's not a big, it's not like, well, today it was 10. Yesterday it was 12:30. Tomorrow it might be 1, then back. That's chaos.
Exactly.
That's just chaos. And in the morning, what time do I wake up? I wake up at 6:40. How often? Every morning. On the weekends, I don't set it. It's not set. Will I sleep a little bit later? Yes, and that's okay. I appreciate staying out a little bit longer. But what are you doing in the morning that's like clockwork that you don't challenge yourself? You don't ask yourself, am I going to do this or not? That doesn't even come into the equation. Like when I get up in the morning, I let my dog out, and the minute I do that, I lay down on the couch and I do my Wim Hof breathing. Do I consider not doing it? It doesn't even weigh. It's just let the dog out, shut the door, Wim Hof breathing. That does so much to get my day started. And then, of course, we don't have time now. I go into the rest of my morning routine. So please, if you don't have a routine that includes mental, spiritual, and physical in the morning, you're not going to be as accomplished through the day.
And let me ask you this: can you really lead others if you're not leading yourself?
You can't. That's being kind of you're not congruent in your heart and your purpose. So, I just did a video earlier for all of us here at FPC. It was about taking care of yourself, through all kinds of trials in my life. The one thing outside of my faith, the one thing that got me through those trials was I've always respected my health, my temple. I've always respected staying physically fit, mentally and spiritually. But a lot of people fell out of that during the lockdown.
There's a lot of distractions.
Like that. A lot of distractions, and we all did a little bit. Me too. We justified it by
2020.
There's a ton of stuff going on in the world right now. I'm just going to have a glass of wine. Okay, that's okay. I got it. But that doesn't mean you stop exercising. It doesn't mean, because when you have that you're doing that. Number one, you're going to be focused. You're going to be clear. You're going to be at peace. But now I can lead others. And I used to tell, when I was in practice, I used to tell my prospects coming in to practice, to be a practice member, when we talked about the lifestyle, the diet and the fitness, all this, I would look at them and say, look, I'm going to tell you something. It's going to be different. That doesn't mean it's going to be any more difficult than what you do today. It just means it's going to be different. It just means it's different. I mean, honestly, it doesn't take any more energy to do a fork with something good on it or bad on it. But I would look at them and say, John, here's what I'm going to do. I'll never ask you to do something beyond what I do in my lifestyle. I'll never ask you to do that. So I knew I was always going to be performing at a higher level than anyone that came to me. Now, why did I do that? Personal. That's what I want for me. It's what I want for my family. But I also did it because I knew I had to be congruent. I didn't want to be a hypocrite. I didn't want me to be telling people how valuable something is, and then look at my life. If someone were to ask me, tell me about your workouts this week, Dr. Webb, tell me about them. Oh, well, this week I didn't because my knee hurt. I mean, right? You can't do that.
There's a million excuses. It's easy to make
excuses. Yeah, you can lead people when you've challenged yourself to go through what you're asking them to do, right? As you lead them.
Well, not only that, but nobody wants to follow someone that's not going through that themselves. I mean, why would I want to take business practice from someone that doesn't have a successful business? Why would I want to eat at a restaurant where the chef isn't
On purpose, doing, yeah,
exactly.
Respecting what he does. True.
So you're creating in your own life, you're creating the image that you believe should be followed, that you would want to be led by someone who is on purpose. And on
Yeah. And look, so much that I do, and I think you do too. We want to add significance. And so, and we can only do that. We can only gain that trust if people can, you're the book that they're not reading. They're the book. You're what they're watching, and there's, without you saying a word, they should know who you are by your appearance, how you act, how you behave, all these other things. They should just know, okay, that person's walking the talk. I think I'll listen to what they have to say, but I don't want us to get so far off of that part of it without realizing, without all that, why wouldn't you just do it for yourself? I mean, why wouldn't you just love yourself?
That's a tough question.
Because if you don't love yourself enough to do that and say, it's time for me now, it's time for rest, it's time for my journaling, it's time for my exercise. If you aren't there, how can you give what you don't have? The light that you're trying to give, you have to see that in yourself first. So I really do tell people, and I admit to people, I do it for myself because I love myself. That's not, I'm not narcissistic or whatever you want to call it. I'm not, whatever that is, but I really appreciate being here, appreciate the opportunity for life. And I want to respect that. And if I take care of me, okay, I've taken care of me, I'm good. Oh, now I can take care of other people.
That actually raises a really interesting question, is that if someone were to start 2021 saying, I want to be wealthy, what would your actual description of wealth be outside of the concept of money? What's real wealth? Well,
then that's what I would ask them. Tell me what you're asking. What is it? Because I don't know if they're talking about financial wealth. I don't know. I believe that, there's always a time that we go through in life, and I certainly went through it for sure when I was younger, that, man, I really, really wanted to be wealthy because I felt it would solve a lot of problems. I did. Yes. And I thought it would solve a lot of problems. And it can, but it won't if you don't have the other qualities that bring on a successful life. If someone asked me, what would you give up? Your wealth or your health? Well, that's an easy one. I give up my wealth. So right there, we know it's not the most important thing. And I don't think there's one person watching this right now that would say any different. Because if you don't have your health, it's just, come on, there's no point. You can't enjoy it. So I want wealth, to me, isn't necessarily a certain number. It does mean that I'm in a place in life that I don't have anxiousness, bouts of doubt and so forth about my financial abilities to take care of my family. No one should be there, right?
Yeah.
Now, some people that might mean X dollars per month. Other people is different. That's totally a personal choice and what you're going to do with it and all of that. But if you combined, okay, financially, I feel very confident where I'm at, and I feel like no matter what happens, I'll get through it. I can get on my feet easy. We're good. We're good.
Absolutely.
Okay, then that's good for you, as long as you can say, am I putting time in to be the husband, the mother, the wife, the spouse, all those other things? That's part of wealth. That's part of success. I've got a lot of friends that are really, really successful financial wise, but most of my friends that are successful that way, my true friends, all of them, they're hugely successful as people. They're hugely successful as givers. They're hugely successful as leaders. They
you see the connection there?
Well, so some people that haven't found their purpose and want to add significance, all the people that are close to me, they have this tendency, and maybe that's what attracts me to them. And we work on each other, right? Because we have a likeness in that. But it's just really cool to hear other people that meet some of my friends go, man, they're so giving. They're like, it makes me feel good to know.
Mindy has a comment.
Got that.
Wealth is liberty, peace,
Peace, and
and
love.
love.
Yeah, and I so that's my wife just tuned in. I think is that from Mindy, my wife? Yeah,
Yeah.
she just tuned in. Liberty, freedom, not living as a slave, living with free choices, and the world's going through a crazy time right now, and freedom isn't free. It's never been free, and we may be going through a time right now that we have to earn that freedom, and that's okay. Um, but yes, having peace and joy, settlement within our hearts, and being very, very, very grateful for being here. And the other things are great. My wife and I and my son, we enjoy what finances can do for a living. We do enjoy that. I'm not going to lie about that. It's a wonderful thing. But we would still be every bit as happy, in love, and content if it went away. That's not what governs our inner joy. It's an extra gift.
I want to jump right into something real quick. So first of all, you are watching Wake Up with Webb. We are here every Friday, and of course, my name is Nick, sitting in place for the usual host, Angel, and I am here with the man who needs no introduction for this show, at least, Dr. Charles Webb. And the next part that I want to discuss a couple of things from your book, Metamorphosis. And why I feel like that's such a strong tie-in to the comment you just made is that the book Metamorphosis, from your own personal story, was not written at a time where you were just at the top of the financial mountain. This was something that, the way that you and Mindy describe it, you were in a place where you felt like you had to go up, lock yourself in the room, put this book out in order to make sure that you got to a place that you wanted to be. So you've certainly been at different stages of the mountain. And this book is the fruit of that.
Yeah, it started there. It's interesting. I remember Mindy and I going through a tough time, and most of you have heard this. When Mindy met me, I was in a good place, business wise, financial wise. It was a good place. And but anyway, we started dating, and in a fairly short period of time, things tumbled down. But bottom line, we tumbled down, and we ended up going to bankruptcy and lost everything. But it was interesting because a time had come to where I knew I had to really find me and get out of some of the things that weren't really my purpose. And we were sitting in church one day and listening to our pastor, Rick, and he had gone through a similar trial when he had moved away from his hometown, I think in Savannah, Georgia, or I think that's it. But he had moved out and into an area to start all over, which was San Antonio. And at the time, I believe he was around 40 when I lost everything. I think I was about 42 years old. And when I was watching him, and he's got this big congregation starting from a hotel room, this peace came over me. And I was just like, it just hit me. I just hit me. And I was totally at peace. I knew what I was going to do. And I told Mindy, I'm going to teach. I'm going to go out and change lives. I'm going to get on the stage. I'm going to do what Rick's doing, but I'm going to do it in the health industry.
Got the spark right there.
I did. It hit me, and I knew it was like I just got touched. And I told my wife, I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna write a book. And so that gave me peace during the storm. It gave me peace that I wasn't paying attention to the storm. I wasn't paying attention, being in what we call that terror barrier. And so she accepted my position, and I did. I literally came home, and I would go upstairs and lock myself in the room till midnight. And so Mindy and I didn't see a lot of each other during this time, and she gave me the freedom to do that. And it was a tough time to hear talk about it. But anyway, it turned into a beautiful thing, and that's what launched me back into practice. And it is part of FPC training and all these things. So good things come out of tough times.
Which is exactly the point, right? Again, we're discussing how some people are looking for success in 2021. And the reality is that it's not coming to you on a silver platter. You're going to have to earn it. But the proof in the pudding here is that anyone in a tough time has the ability to find themselves and then escalate into that next level. And I want to start by discussing one thing that you've written in the book. I think this is on page 2, just right away. You said hope isn't the answer.
Yeah, I mean, look, hope's a positive word, but hope is used, I think, too often, kind of as an excuse to not co-labor, right? It's kind of a
because you're waiting.
You're waiting. It's a waiting word,
Sure.
right? And I my hope is for beautiful things. Okay, are you co-laboring in that? Because faith doesn't come without works. So if I want to feel strong about that hope and build that hope up, the hope for things not yet seen, if I want to build that up, then I have to participate in that. And
You have to lead it.
yeah, and I know, if someone were to tell me, and I think it was Steve Harvey that was talking about this to John Maxwell, he said, John, if someone would have told me, it could have been someone else, but if someone would have told me, Steve, this is what it's going to look like. This is what you're going to have to go through to be successful. Hell no, I'm not going to do that. And if someone were to tell me, in order for you to build up and create this business that's going to impact in time 10 million lives, Charlie, let me give you a little look here on what you're going to have to go through. Are you willing to go through this? Most of us would look at this and just go, so it's not guaranteed. No, it's not guaranteed.
And it's going to take
But
way
these challenges are guaranteed. Oh yeah, the challenges are guaranteed.
Sure.
You know what? I think I'll just kind of stay in the status quo and all this. But my point is, when people ask, what do I think about those trials I went through? The best thing that ever happened to me personally. I wouldn't be who I am without them. And because of those things, it has a tendency to push people. Some of the biggest stories I've ever heard, this transformation of people, are some of the toughest stories I've ever heard. So don't go out looking, necessarily for challenges, but recognize them as, instead of, oh, this sucks, maybe it's you're ready. Maybe it's you're ready now. You're this time for you to get out of your shell or whatever that is. But there's no reason to look at it any other way except an opportunity to grow.
Which means that for everyone watching right now, if 2020 was let's say it was the toughest year of your life, and it was for a lot of people, 2021 has the chance to be the best year of your life. And I think the word that we want to discuss moving forward, and again, this is speaking of the book Metamorphosis, which Dr. Webb wrote himself, the word is balance. And you've got 4 crucial categories of wellness in your book: physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual.
Yeah.
How, if there is an imbalance of those things, if you're not tending to one of them or 2 of them, how can someone's life, just like the wheels, if one wheel is off, how can someone not find the happiness they're looking for, the success they're looking for, if they're not tending to all 4 of those?
Well, if you look out and you see people like, fitness is a big part of my life. But if I had to measure the time I put in my fitness compared to the time I put into mental, this far outweighs it. And my wife will tell you, I spend a lot of time educating myself and reading and studying. I spend more time in my spiritual life than this. This is, now I have my daily habits, but I don't spend any more time eating than you do, perhaps. And my exercise is, let's just call it 60 minutes, 5-6 days a week. So yes, that time's there. But I know people because, I'm in the fitness world, there are some people, that's all they have. And maybe it's their career. So I get it's a dominant place, but most of them, it's not their career. They just become like gym people, excuse me. And when you look at the balance of things, if all of a sudden they didn't have that part, they wouldn't know who they are. Now, I would be devastated if something were to occur to me and I couldn't do the fitness aspect. I can't imagine what that could be, because I still got parts of my body that I always could, but I still have so many other things to balance, right? I really, really enjoy fitness. I really enjoy studying. I enjoy reading. I enjoy
Spiritual,
the spiritual,
emotional,
all of those things. They need to be in balance. And if you feel like you're cannywampus or something, you might look at these. Now, these physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, I don't know if that's the perfect 4 for you. I think all of these are pretty damn important, but for me, that's what it was. And when I'm in tune on all of them, like you said, there's a balance, and that balance means there's no anxiousness. The world doesn't get to you, right?
Sure.
And so are you looking, because so many people miss out on one of these aspects. And I know a lot of people, like I'm a reader. That's not for everyone. I get it. A lot of people don't prefer to read. My son's a reader. My wife is a reader. So we enjoy that, and that's one way we like to take things in. It's a meditation, if you will, but you can learn in other ways, right?
Of course.
And some people don't work out at the gym. My wife works out at home. That works. Um, Luke is one of our top biohacker. He learns to work out in the environment, and he doesn't go to the gym. He's got a bar with some bands. That's what my wife does, Mindy. So do things your way and find the environment and find the peace, but don't get tripped up and let yourself fall behind in one of these categories. Because I can tell you, for me, every one of those categories is right there. If I didn't spend time on the spiritual side of things, my faith would be
Faltering a little bit.
faltering, I guess it would be the word I'm looking for. And that's just that's the first place that I give myself in the morning, is on that part of the equation. But before I do the spiritual stuff, I do have my morning routine, as I was mentioned earlier, that does include the physical, and that's not my workout time, but there is exercise that I do in the morning to get going, get blood going, get breathing and
Sure.
things like this to turn on the energy.
Absolutely. And so, guys, I know that we're coming to the end of the episode here, and we just want to make sure that you understand that it's not an accident to find success. And 2021 should be just like every other year, like every other day. You get a routine, dedicate yourself to it, and find the balance.
You just said something. 2021's. Is it really another time, or are we just moving forward? Why do we have to look at it as 2021? Why don't we just say the time is now? When's the time to get in better shape? Now. When's the time that I need to start taking care of myself and love myself? Now, presently, not some imaginary day in the future. So all these things are good, but nothing happens until you act upon it. So I would leave here, and if it's just taking a note card and just jotting down some things that you just heard and making a quick commitment that, all right, this is going to start this weekend. Just implement, guys. Do it for yourself, because when that happens, everyone else benefits from you taking care of you.
Absolutely. And so again, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the episode. It's been such a pleasure to be able to sit
this was
next
fun.
to you,
We're going to do this again with Nick.
Hopefully, and Angel will also be back here too. So a few things. First of all, if you want to learn more about what Dr. Webb wrote in his book, Metamorphosis, freedompracticecoaching.com. Reach out to Dr. Webb or any of the associates here at FPC, and that book is available always. If you are looking for more ways to live consciously and follow someone who is tending to the garden himself, facebook.com/Dr. Charles Webb. You're here watching Wake Up with Webb every Friday. Dr. Webb, is there anything you want to leave the audience with?
No, thanks for being here. It means a lot. It means that you're already awake, or you wouldn't be here. And we just want to keep taking to the next level. And so the biggest impact that you can make is make certain that your friends are and if it's bringing them here, I'd love to have them. If there's some other people that you watch that are impacting you, that can help get to the next level, just pass it on. People really, really need help today. They are living unconscious. There's been an indoctrination in this world to dumb people down, and we're here to be pioneers and leaders. And you are also that person. If you reach out to your friends and say, hey, come with me. I mean, there's other things that I watch that I bring people to and say, hey, I go here every freaking Wednesday morning. I want to invite you. I want you to check it out and see what you can. So add significance in other people's lives. And we'd love to have them here.
Okay, guys, every Friday, Wake Up with Webb. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.